Well, folks, we have reached the top 50. Hope you all have been enjoying this list. I honestly been enjoying talking about a lot of these movies. Whether they're short or long, I really enjoy talking about movies that really mean a lot to me. Again, this list wasn't easy. Because at number 50 and number 49, we're actually going to talk about Spider-Man! Spider-Man, 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 Spider-Man. Who again doesn't know? Spider-Man is my personal favorite superhero of all time. So of course some of his movies are going to make this list, with number 50 being the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which was the film that introduced me to Spider-Man. This was the film that made me a Spider-Man fan. This will introduce me to the character, what brought me to this world and everything, and it's still, that's why he's cheesy, it still holds up pretty well, and I still love all the journey that Tony Ryan goes through, and what goes on with these characters. Like, it's a pretty effective Spider-Man origin story. And I'm actually having a tie at 49 as I'm including both Spider-Verse movies, Into Spider-Verse and Across Spider-Verse. Mostly because I can't really figure out which one I like more on Slack. Like, for one I thought it was Across Spider-Verse, but Into Spider-Verse, like, both of them are still incredible movies. Like, I'm still debating which one I enjoyed more, honestly, because both of them are truly incredible Spider-Man movies. Again, movies that basically are like love letters to Spider-Man, love letters to the character, love letters to what this type of character displayed. In Spider-Verse basically introduced to Miles Morales. Again, 2018 is basically what really got people into Miles Morales. I don't think he really was, like, I don't know, like, I think he was a brilliant character before, but I don't think he was really popular until Into Spider-Verse and until Into Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2018 came out. But yeah, they're becoming a very popular character after this movie. I agree with you. Well, I think the Spider-Man movies are very more simple stories. They're not like groundbreaking Spider-Man stories. Again, they still work and they still feel like love letters to the character, along with having some of the most breathtaking and incredible animation you've ever seen in any movie. In any Spider-Man movie, you got incredible use of the Spider-Man lore, and the Spider-Mans they bring here are fantastic. Fantastic the way they had to work on these characters and develop their characters and what they're going through. And a lot of the emotions they go through and everything, and how, and it feels basically like it's just a love letter Spider-Man. Well, the films do have fan service. It's fan service that does well and doesn't deviate from the actual story. So yeah, the original Spider-Man by 50, and I decided just go and just put both Spider-Man movies at 49 because I can't decide which one I enjoy more. But both of them are fantastic. And now we get to another Edgar Wright movie on this list, and that is my favorite of the Cornell trilogy, and that is Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead! Shaun of the Dead! Oh, so bad, my favorite zombie movie. It's my favorite. Yeah, I think it's my favorite zombie movie of all time. And I mean, that's the start of the Cornell trilogy, which is kind of an unofficial trilogy with this. Hoffa's and the World's End. They kind of World's End and the mentions, and then Hoffa was also on this list at like 83. So of course I included Shaun of the Dead here, honestly. Like, I could include the whole trilogy, honestly, but it's also kind of include. But there's one case where I decided, screw it, let's just do a couple of them separate. And Shaun of the Dead, I don't think is a fantastic movie. That's an incredible zombie movie. That's an incredible package. Delivering on the scares, but also delivering on the great comedy, and that wit that Edgar Wright is known for. And this was the movie that put Edgar Wright on the map, especially with the sharp editing. Like, to prove that he does movies in so incredibly great fashion that makes movies so engaging to watch. Like, these movies prove that how editing can really make a movie. Now at number 47, we have the original The Karate Kid. It's crazy it's now 4 years since The Karate Kid came out, and this film's always been a classic because it's not even more classic thanks to the Cobra Kai series that came out that really makes a lot of elements of the movie feel so much more appreciated, so much more like valued and loved, because it's a very simple story with Daniel obviously just getting into it with Johnny Lawrence and finding out that this old guy actually does teach karate and ends up teaching him karate and everything, and leads to the big fight sequence in the end. Like, it's a very simple story, but it's one that works because you do feel for the characters, you do invest what goes on, you get some iconic sequence, the whole wax off sequence, and the whole final fight in general with the crane kick. It's incredible stuff. And while Johnny, we feel like he's a generic bad guy, he does have his moments. But again, it's basically what happens in Cobra Kai and everything, that really elevates a lot element of this movie, makes them really more impressive and really more emotional. Honestly, so yeah, yeah, the TV series that feels like years later makes the original film that was always considered a classic so much better in hindsight. So of course I had to include the original. So of course I had to include Crack. It's somewhat on this list because it is a classic. And now we get to what's my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie, and that is Arrival. I remember when I saw this movie at a screen in 2016, and I remember not very much about it, but the movie kind of blew me away when I first saw it, and I'm still blown away to this day because it is an incredible movie that has an incredible tone, incredible cinematography, just use the best elements of Denis Villeneuve in his movies. They're one of these movies I would say aren't the most rewatchable. They aren't the most, when they are the right, yeah, I admit, his movies aren't the most rewatchable movies in the world, and what I can't go for rewatchability. I can't deny how incredible Arrival is, honestly, every time I do watch it, and how better it gets on rewatch. I still think Amy Adams gives her best performance here, even Jay Rent gets one of his best performances here as well. Is it basically an alien invasion movie that really isn't an alien invasion movie? Basically just no action and no like explosions. It's a very down to earth, more grounded movie that has a lot of great twists and turns. Avengers, assemble for the Infinity War! And just like that, Infinity War and 45. Again, Infinity War is still amazing, and basically a culmination of 10 years of the MCU. And imagine, also, the fact they're able to balance and juggle so many characters, so many people in this movie is insane. Obviously, some people go skin than others, but they're still able to balance them pretty well is incredible to witness. And especially going back and forth and everything, they still managed to get a person a good amount of screen time. You get a lot of great back and forth against the Guardians being like Tony Stark, Spider-Man, just incredible. And the fact that some of that are probably still relevant in the MCU is still pretty incredible. This Thanos is probably the best MCU villain, honestly. And that definitely was debated whether Thanos was going to actually deliver as the big bad, and he does. Again, the movie is basically Thanos' movie. He basically is the main character, just everyone's just kind of followed to him, honestly. He's really a compelling and layered villain. Of course, the line he says to Stark, "You have my respect, Stark. I hope they remember you." That line still gets me, of course, the death scene happens later on involving him just still hits like a ton of bricks. Just that he's a very layered villain. And he also got some best elements of his characters with Tony Stark, Cap, the Guardians themselves, Spider-Man. Like, he also gets some incredible action set pieces, like in the Titan battle, and the Wakanda battle is amazing. And, well, yeah, Chris Star-Lord is pretty much an idiot in this movie, but it still makes for some pretty great moments. And Snap, despite if we know all of them come in the next movie, it's still incredible moments. And now we get to my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, and that is Unbreakable. And I knew Unbreakable was going to be somewhere on this list, and Unbreakable still is an incredible movie, honestly. It's still, and this Black film always will be the best thing M. Night Shyamalan has ever done, honestly. Again, this guy that's filmmaking career goes very back and forth, honestly, like really back and forth. But he's still when he's good, he's really good, and this is definitely an example. Again, basically a superhero movie that's not a superhero movie, but basically what if Superman lands on Earth and doesn't know he's Superman? It means there's some pretty emotional, incredible moments where Bruce Willis, in my opinion, is still giving his best performance of his entire career. And I think this is probably Samuel Jackson's best performance in general as well, as Elijah. And all the missing of going forward, a lot of the great character moments, J. New Howard's incredible score, which is one of the best scores of all time, in my opinion. The incredible cinematography, the great takes, the great back and forth between a lot of the characters, the great emotion. Like, doing it, like, Unbreakable is still an incredible superhero masterpiece that, well, it's not technically a superhero movie, it really delivers a lot of the emotion that you expect. The fact that we did get a situation with Splitting Glass, honestly, many years later after this, it's still incredible, and definitely makes the movie a lot better, honestly. Even if glasses end in this point way. And now we get to another superhero movie, and that is Logan. Still, in my opinion, the best X-Men movie, and in spite of what happened to Wolverine, this movie still hits like a ton of bricks. Even the fact that this is not a huge performance, he still gets the best performance of his career in this movie. Again, the fact that we finally get a hard R Wolverine movie in this movie is amazing to witness. Like, the obviously alone you knew in for a wild ride. Patrick Stewart also gets his best performance as Professor X. Daphne Keane delivers a great performance as Laura, who bond with Logan is just incredible twist throughout the movie. The action sequences are great. The emotion, like it's basically like a superhero movie. This movie is basically best described as like a superhero version of The Last of Us, because it does have like very similar themes and tone, which honestly you can kind of see that honestly, but that's honestly a compliment to the movie. It's kind of like a movie version of The Last of Us, just in the X-Men world, and I can definitely see what people mean by that. It does have a lot of similar tones and themes, but it delivers on those themes very well. Again, that voice fight sequence and of course what happens at the end still hits me to this very day. So of course, despite what happens to Deadpool Wolverine, which by the way as a film right now is actually my favorite movie of the year so far, but it doesn't like the theory from that movie is amazing. Fast. Now we get to another Disney movie on this list. I told you there's gonna be a lot of Disney movies on this list, but we get to another favorite of mine, and that is Lilo and Stitch. It's pretty nice to we're actually gonna get a remake, honestly, which obviously I'm not excited for. Even I kind of know the Stitch that actually looks pretty good, actually, but like, why a Lilo and Stitch remake of all things? Why? You know, I would complain about this remakes and also the fact that it should make movies that actually are deserving remakes, but that's a topic for another day. But Lilo and Stitch, despite it being like a crazy alien invasion movie and a crazy like sci-fi insane movie, it's probably one of the most grounded Disney movies they have ever done, with everything that Lilo goes through and her sister and everything, and all the emotional that they went through and all the heartbreak they went through. Like, those scenes really hit. Like, there's a lot of scenes that are kind of memeable and of course kind of just reference a lot because they really do mean a lot. And it pained me to put this movie at 42, but that's how hard this list was, guys. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch is still an incredible movie with, well, it does have some hilarious moments, some great characters, and Lilo and Stitch have one of the best studios in Disney history, in my opinion. The supporting cast still delivers as well. The action is great when it's there. When it hits those grounded emotional moments, it really delivers. And now at 41, we get to the next Harry Potter movie I mentioned that was going to be that has always been my favorite Harry Potter movie, and that is the finale, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And while it is definitely interesting that they decided to split the last book into two parts, which started a trend that definitely died out pretty quickly, Devil's Part 2 still is delivered as it is a great, satisfying finale to this franchise. As well, I don't know, it might make it more in the future, even by, everything involved J.K. Rowling, which again, always makes Harry Potter so hard to talk about nowadays. But again, that's a story for another day. But Devil's Part 2 is definitely an incredible finale that's always been my favorite because it is a very emotional finale. As the characters have satisfying ends to their characters, the ending still gets me to this very day. Still my favorite moment in any Harry Potter movie. But the final battle is great by it being a kind of quick fight, but it still is very satisfying. And the emotional moments that involving Snape in this movie is just incredible and makes you really rethink his character. Just perfection. Now, number 40 is probably the weirdest time on this list because both these movies couldn't be anyone similar. I think it's both because I kind of forgot to put this movie on the list, one movie on this list, and I decided, screw it. Basically, I have both the Lego Movie and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And just deal with it. I decided what the heck. But, like, first off, the Lego Movie. Probably one of the most surprising movies on this list, is I was not expecting to love the Lego Movie as much as I did. Honestly, I don't think anybody did, honestly. And the movie ended up becoming like a huge rousing success, and fortunately caused one of the biggest franchise sinks in quite a while. Biggest sinks of a franchise in like a while, because obviously they end up like overdoing themselves with just like a few movies, and of course, yeah. The Lego Movie still is a very charming movie that takes a lot of the feeling elements from what you expect from the Chosen One story and manages to poke fun at it. Manages to deliver a really engaging story with really interesting characters. Great humor, great use of the fan service done very well, great world building, and to me that has so much charm and energy too, you can't help but smile and laugh. And honestly, that's kind of similar to Scott Pilgrim, honestly, that it's more video game references than anything. Like, it's basically kind of like a lot of references to video games, a lot of nods to video games, but it's done in the best possible way. Honestly, because you got Scott Pilgrim basically trying to defeat the 7 evil exes, and the show are more fun and interesting than the last. Like, the vegan one still gets me every time I watch it. And for a long time, this was my favorite Edgar Wright movie, actually. Despite how much I love the Narrative Trilogy, Scott Pilgrim always been my favorite, mostly because of how many times I rewatched it, how many times I got back to it. Of course, one movie didn't have Tommy, which we'll get into, but Scott Pilgrim is a very charming movie that puts a big grin on my face. And I still love coming back to this movie to this day. And now, at number 39 and 38 are two movies that are very, although, of course, are classics that, of course, I don't think there's very much to say about them because they are classic for a reason. Which brings me to why they're only at number 39 and 38 on this list. Again, this list wasn't easy, folks. I know I keep saying it, but this list wasn't easy, folks. But at 39, I got The Shining. One of the best horror movies of all time. Jack Nicholson's incredible performance. Also, shows of all, may he rest in peace. May she rest in peace. He is Johnny! Still one of the most best horror moments to this day. Again, and despite not being like anything involved in obviously Stephen King's adaptation, it's still an incredibly effective movie. It's crazy how though it was actually criticized when it first out, but now it's still a horror classic like 44 years later, but that's because it is. And of course we got Back to the Future, back to the Future. Too easy to say it about Back to the Future. It's an incredible movie. With great characters, great iconic lines that still run to this very day. It's like a classic for a reason. And now we are going to get to another trilogy at 37, and that is the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Yes, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. As I include in this entry, which again, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. This, in my opinion, probably the best franchise that has been received from the MCU, aside from the Avengers, obviously. Also, like, the first one really was a surprise. Like, it kind of came out of nowhere 10 years ago, and then kind of like a huge rousing success with the characters. They got characters that are more unknown characters and manages to amplify them to cult status, which is something that James Gunn seems to do incredibly well. Honestly, he's taking like unknown characters and making them into like all cultural icons and incredible characters to watch and witness. He did with also Volume 2, but also Suicide Squad, and pretty much every movie he has done, honestly, which makes what he's going to do with his other movies more interesting. Especially with his Superman movie coming out next year, which I'm very excited for, actually. But the original Guardians of the Galaxy, it's still fantastic, still one of the best MCU movies, still delivers on the charm and the humor. The soundtrack is fantastic. Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Drax, and Groot are all fantastic characters. The action is great. The humor is just top tier. Like, this is MCU humor done right, in my opinion. But this kind of like set the tone for a lot of MCU movies in terms of the humor, for better or for worse, depending on who you talk to. And there's Volume 2, which won't it be my least favorite and be a movie I've been so like back and forth about. I think the reasons what happened in Guardians 3 makes a lot of elements of this movie so much better. And now I'm like super high on this movie again. I think I put it pretty high on my best movies 2017 list now, even though I don't think it actually made my original list. That's just how good the movie is. Again, that death scene at the end still gets me. Again, Ego I think is a pretty underrated villain. Manchester I think is a pretty fun character. Again, there's a little bit mean to it, I'm not gonna lie, but it still works. You still get that lot of charm that you expect from the Guardians. The soundtrack is still great. The opening sequence is still great. Like, you get a lot of great charm and greatness that makes the original so good. And then you got Volume 3, which, after thinking about it, I think in my opinion is the best Guardians movie. Like, it's easy in my opinion a top 3 MCU movie. It was my favorite movie last year for a goddamn reason. Like, it definitely was bad, but it was my favorite movie of last year because of the emotion and how it actually sent up a lot of these characters and actually makes the stories, freaking end. Again, an incredible soundtrack, more incredible action, more incredible use of a lot of the characters. Again, I think the villains they use here are actually pretty effective and pretty well done. How they decided to implement Rocket and this. Like, I've always thought Rocket was my favorite Guardian, honestly, but that movie really cemented it. But I still love characters like Star-Lord, and also what they did with Gamora in that movie. Drax definitely was his more interesting moments, and what they did with Nebula and other characters. It's pretty well done. And you get some of those heart-wrenching emotional moments in any MCU movie. Like, some really dark moments as well. Like, you're surprised they actually put that in an MCU movie. But yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The trilogy, I think, is still fantastic. I'm One World, Sammy One World, and I'm talking about my favorite Bond movie, Casino Royale. Hero is still my favorite Bond movie, and I appreciate so much more after having watched all the Bond movies a few years ago. Because I don't think, aside from like maybe one Pierce Brosnan movie and one Sean Connery movie, I don't think I've ever watched any of the previous Bond movies I've done correct ones. But you know, when COVID hit, honestly, like a Studio Ghibli, I decided to watch all the Bond movies for the first time. And in spite of it being a franchise that's very up and down with consistency and all that stuff, it's really it definitely made me appreciate this franchise so much more. Well, more I appreciate what this movie really spent because also it was a reboot of the franchise. This was starting off a new era of Bond, which I think Nicolas still is still the best. I think Sea Royale is an incredible action set piece with having an amazing set piece, that's an amazing set piece. Darren Craig delivering the best performance of James Bond character, delivering a more story focused and interesting tone for this franchise that it's so incredible to witness and discover. So yeah, Sea Royale still kicks ass. And speaking of Studio Ghibli, we've got another movie Studio Ghibli on this list at 35, and that is one of the classics, Princess Mononoke. Again, I don't think that statement has already been said. It's critically acclaimed for a goddamn reason. It's one of the most emotionally devastating movies on this list. It's a pretty interesting, engaging movie with incredible characters, really heart-pounding moments. A movie that delivers the perfect package of what you expect from a Ghibli movie at this point that I really enjoyed coming back to him. Again, it's crazy I never watched that movie until I started watching Ghibli movies back in 2020, but I'm glad I did. And now we finally get to another Pixar movie here, and that is Toy Story 3, which for the longest time has always been my favorite Toy Story movie, honestly. I know a lot of people say the original, and I love the original. I mean, hell, the original was on this list. Was it? I mean, hell, the original was on this list along with Toy Story 2. That just shows how much I love this franchise. And the fact that Toy Story 4 wasn't as great as the previous ones is probably why I decided to put them all as a franchise in one entry, so that's how I'm going. It just depends on how you feel about all movies. I think they're worthy of being like one slot, or should I put them separately on this list? In case you guys are wondering. But Toy Story 3, I think, is still an incredible movie that, despite the fact that I think it's pretty much going to be ruined, but it kind of got a little bit ruined Toy Story 4, and also Toy Story 5, which again, why Toy Story 5? Like, why? Like, I know, it will surprise me, but I kind of doubt it at this point, but Toy Story 3 is incredible. We're delivering pure emotion, having some of the most emotionally poignant moments in any Pixar movie. There'll be some really scary moments in general, Lotso being an incredible villain. It's a really great back and forth between a lot of the characters. And again, delivering that pure emotion and heartwarming stuff that you expect from this type of movie. And again, despite the fact that ending kind of got ruined a tap at Toy Story 4 and 5, it still hits like 10 bricks. And now we're going for anime movie to another Spider-Man movie, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home. Yes, I have No Way Home on my best of all time list. And I never been what I wanted to purchase film on the list, but in the end, No Way Home is a movie that I really loved when I first saw in theaters, and I think the love of the movie has gone a little bit down over the time, considering, you know, the hype it was and some other elements, but I've always loved No Way Home, and I still do love it. I still will be watching. I still love coming back to it. It doesn't have a lot of nostalgia yet, but nostalgia done right. Again, remember at the other Spider-Man was in pretty impressive detail. I really adored. And it actually added a lot more time on Spider-Man, what he goes through, and even back the other Raimi and other Garfield villains was definitely pretty impressive, and actually elevates those movies a bit more, elevates those stories a bit more. The action is fantastic, and the final battle is just incredible. The ending gets me every time. It has generally some of the best Spider-Man moments ever. It's basically a live-action Spider-Verse movie gone right. Again, also feel like a love letter to Spider-Man. And who knows what they're going to do with the Spider-Man in later movies, but overall, at this movie, I'm very excited. And now we get to one of the more feel-good movies on the list, as we're already getting to another Studio Ghibli movie. Probably one of the most feel-good movies you will ever watch, My Neighbor Totoro. Like, this movie is just like a big, comforting hug. Like if you just want to feel comforted and warm and snuggy and fuzzy inside, it's definitely this movie. It's just one of the most feel-good movies on this list. That alone puts this to where it is on this list. It's always been a favorite Ghibli movie of mine ever since I first watched it, and it definitely still is. And now we're going to another Pixar movie. I told you a lot of Pixar movies that are going to be on this list. But yeah, number 31, we have Soul. Soul. Probably the most mature movie that Pixar has ever done. Like, their true, more mature film. And this came out of real high, which is when COVID came around. Like, this movie was so good, I watched it 5 or 6 times in 1 week. That's how much I loved Solo, how much it was my favorite that year. And it really gets better on how rewatches. Again, it's like the themes that really elevates it, you know. That thing like, oh my god, am I doing much in my life? Am I doing enough like this? Or am I wasting away certain things? And if you do reach your dreams, is it going to be as fulfilling as you expect? Or are you going to end up doing nothing with your life if you don't reach that point? Like, that's basically what the message is in the movie. And honestly, that's something I've still been dealing with a lot since that movie came out. Like it's one that Pixar really is known for. You know, if there was something that Pixar knows how to do extremely well, as you can tell from all the Pixar movies I talked about, is that they can really hit themes so incredibly well. So, is that when it comes to relatable themes and relatable moments and basic things that adults can relate to, connect to, he really delivered, and so is no exception. Of course, you get the usual human moments, the fun adventure aspects, and what does go in, each direction. I still admire what this movie did, honestly. Again, it's the message itself is what put this movie to where it is on this list. Kicking off the top 30, we're getting there, people. The top 30, and that is another trilogy, and that is the rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy. Basically, Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes. Again, another trilogy that is, out of all the trilogies I included here so far, this one is the most surprising. Now, why is it the most surprising? Because because it's a reboot of the Planet of the Apes franchise. Because the last reboot that we got before that, which was the Tim Burton one, yeah, people didn't have hopes for Rise when it came out. Like, people were like, oh no, the next movie is gonna be a reboot prequel. Like, oh my god, this is gonna suck. And I don't think the trailers really sold that very well either, so that didn't really help. But Rise managed to be an incredibly surprisingly effective movie. The movie that was again probably my least favorite of the trilogy. It still has incredible moments like that Golden Gate Bridge sequence, and of course he's actually yelling, "No!" It's still effective moments, so incredibly effective moments, and also they actually make the human characters actually pretty interesting, which is any type of movies you think would not be possible, but they actually do make it possible. Actually making the human characters incredibly impressive. Incredible characters. I like how also in Dawn of War, they don't have like one side on the right or on the wrong. Like, they could be easy to have like the humans be the bad guys and the apes be the good guys. But no. They just have really conflicting morals. Morals are just, and which makes it pretty interesting. And in general, makes Caesar probably one of the best protagonists in recent memory. And also, Crow also one of the best villains that we have gotten. Again, Dawn really elevates, somehow managed to be better than Dawn by having some incredible action set pieces. Again, apes on horses. How can you not enjoy that? Incredible third act, great action set pieces, and really emotional storytelling. Which carried off with War being an incredibly emotionally end to Caesar's story. Definitely a pretty bleak movie, and probably not the most rewatchable Apes movie, but still an incredible masterpiece. And thankfully, when we got with Kingdom, I think the Apes franchise is on to a really great continuation, and thankfully they're not going to ruin the legacy. But yeah, this is the trilogy that's surprising the most with how good it ended up being. Because I don't think anybody expected. I don't think anybody expected the first one to be good. Right, we got a freaking trilogy that ended up being one of the best trilogies of all time. For the freaking Planet of the Apes? Holy shit! And now we're going to turn to a Spielberg movie, and in fact, we're going to talk about 2 Spielberg movies for the price of 1. Which number 29, going to E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Again, one of the more fun adventure movies on this list that obviously is still referenced to this day for good reason. It's a very charming, interesting movie that just, again, it's very simple on the surface, but it still delivers a lot of charm. Still holds it very well with the characters, still holds it very well with the storytelling. Yeah, it's referenced a lot to this very day, like that bike scene still is in my head. And number 28 being a movie that actually got down a lot on my ranking. I think it was actually in the top 10 at one point. But it's definitely a case where basically nothing about this movie changed. It's just I liked a lot of movies a lot more. Simple as that. And that's Saving Private Ryan. which I think we all can agree is still the best war movie of all time. By its low length, has one of the most harrowing opening sequences of all time, has some incredible performances. Like, it's a movie that really showcases the brutalness of war. And as much as we try, I don't think any war movie is going to top this. Some tried, but they failed. Even we have gotten some great war movies. And look, we're getting to another Pixar movie! What a surprise! And there's still a couple more! Spoilers, by the way. Sorry. But yeah, we're getting to Monsters Inc. now. Monsters Inc. One of the most rewatchable movies on this list, a movie I've watched constantly since it came out. I've looked back on constantly. And it's still one of the most charming movies I've seen in my life. This movie I could just put on the background, I could just put it on and I just instantly fall back in love with this world and with Song and Mike, who are one of the best duos of all time. The world building is incredible, the messaging is great, the relationships are fantastic, the humor works very well, has one of the most emotional endings to any Pixar movie, and two of the best villains in Pixar movie with Walrus and Randall. It's just a film that just puts a big in my face, but can also like just tug at my heartstrings and just. That's an exaggeration, but that's really what Pixar does. Take your heart and smash it to a million pieces. Not literally, obviously, but this is how well they are when it comes to living emotional, poignant moments. And now we get to another classic movie at the 26. I'm not sure whether people are going to be happy this movie's only 26. Again, I keep saying this wasn't easy, so I have Die Hard on 26. Like, I don't even mention about Die Hard, it hasn't already been said. It's one of the best action movies of all time. Dracula's one of the best actors of all time. Incredible characters, incredible action set pieces, a movie that's still mean to reference to this day, a movie that's copied a lot to this day. And there's a reason why Die Hard is still one of the action classics. I don't think I need to say anymore.